Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Practical and Healing Applications of A Course in Miracles with me and Rebecca Quinn. As you can hear, I've got a little bit of laryngitis going on, so I've got my husky Kathleen Turner voice tonight. I hope it's okay. Um, so just bear with me as my voice comes back to life. All right, you guys, welcome and thank you for being here for this Course in Miracles broadcast. This is a broadcast where we're going to be learning from a Course in Miracles. This is a Course in Miracles class, and this class is about the practical and healing applications of this curriculum called A Course in Miracles. Miracles is a curriculum. It's a healing of the mind curriculum. It's a curriculum of mind training. And the purpose of A Course in Miracles curriculum is peace of mind. That's what it's all about. Peace of mind. That's what this curriculum is about. So, thank you for being here. And if you wouldn't mind liking, sharing, and subscribing, help the algorithm to put this material out to more people. Beautiful. Hi, Trisha. Lovely to see you. Greg says voice sounds good on YouTube. Excellent. Wonderful. Lovely. Lovely to see you, Trisha, as always. Beautiful. Okay. And I'm going to let you know where we're going to be. We are in the Course in Miracles, Chapter 2, Section 6 in the blue book. If you have the purple book, which is the one version of the original edition, it is Chapter 2, Section 9. So, Trisha, if you are using your original edition in the purple form, it's Chapter 2, Section 9. And for those of you who are using the blue covered edition, it is Chapter 2, Section 6, fear and conflict. That's what we're going to be talking about today. I titled this section today, ACIM and Whenever You Are Afraid. So this section is like an anatomy of fear and conflict. It tells us what fear is, what it means, and how to allow it to be corrected for you. So, and what a practical topic that is, because who doesn't experience fear? So it's going to tell us the truth about fear. And this is extremely practical and helpful for whenever you're feeling fear. This gives us the formula by which you can allow your fear to be corrected, undone, and experience the miracle of joy, peace, and love and abundance that is always behind the fear. Okay? Fear is a misperception, and fear is always hiding something that is true, beautiful, loving, and good. Okay, so the truth, the love, the joy, the peace, the abundance, it's always behind the fear. It's always being hidden by the fear. The fear is an attempt to hide your natural state of love, peace, joy, and abundance. Okay, so why don't we begin by just bringing something to your awareness right now that you're experiencing fear around, or that is causing you to feel fear when you think about it. So bring that to your awareness. Where is the fear right now for you in your life? And bring that to your awareness. And just be applying these principles to that fear wherever you got it going on, so that you can experience a miracle of the application of these ideas by the time that this class is done. Okay, so that's what I do when I'm reading through A Course in Miracles. Thank you. Yeah, when I'm reading through A Course in Miracles, I will take the sentence that it says, I bring it to and apply it to whatever I'm going through in the moment, and then I keep on reading. That's how I study the Course in Miracles. I apply it while I'm reading it. Okay. All right. Thank you, Demi. Lovely to see you. Thank you, Danny Amaru. Thank you so much. I am feeling better. I know it doesn't sound like it, but I'm feeling so much better. This is the improved version right here. So, um, had definitely had an experience where my ego was definitely feeling threatened by how I was using my voice. And I just can't understand why the ego would feel threatened by how I use my voice. I just don't know. but but as much as the ego defends against me using my voice for truth and healing, the ego will not prevail. So I've got my drink right here for my dry throat. Thank you, Jean. Thank you very much. Lovely to see you too. I look healthy, good. I feel good. Um, but the ego is gonna be ego and try to kill the children of God. At least try to keep them from talking. So, but the ego will not prevail. Okay. And I've got my little pause buttons in case I need to cough so they don't hurt anybody's ears. All right. Okay, beautiful. Jean says, well, beautiful. Okay. Trish says, I'm sorry the throat is dry. Lemon, yeah, lemon, thank you. Okay. All right. Okay, you guys. Okay. And now, can you guys hear the music in the background? I don't know if you can, but I just want to make sure it doesn't sound strange. I have the music on, not so much so that you can hear it, although it's lovely, but I enjoy reading the Course in Miracles to music. So let me know if the music sounds weird. Hi, Rebecca. Lovely to see you. Thank you, Demi. All right. Okay, guys, here we go. Where we're going to be at is, as you can see right here. Let's do it. The first sentence says, being afraid thank you, Jean. Being afraid seems to be involuntary. You know, being afraid seems to be something beyond your own control. Okay? The fear you're feeling right now, doesn't it seem to be involuntary? Doesn't it seem to be beyond your own control? Okay. That's what fear seems to be. Fear seems to be involuntary. Fear seems to be something that is beyond your control. Yet I have already said, okay, hold on. Thank you. Okay. Yet I have already said, says our teacher. So I just want to stop for a moment and let you know. This section is where the voice of the Course, our teacher who is speaking to us through the Course in Miracles, is speaking to us. So whenever you hear me say, I this, I that, I am, I am speaking out the words from the voice of the Course, the teacher of the Course, the teacher through whom this Course came. You may hear me say the voice for love, the voice for God, your internal teacher. But just know that the voice here that is speaking directly to us, is the voice of the Course, the teacher who is teaching us through the Course. And if the Course in Miracles is your path, your particular path to healing, then this voice of the Course is your teacher as well. So I just want to say that, so that you know who we're talking about and who is talking to us. Okay. All right. All right. Now, so then being afraid seems to be involuntary. Being afraid seems to be something beyond your own control. Yet I, the voice of the Course, have said already that only constructive acts should be involuntary. So the only thing that should be involuntary is constructive acts, loving acts, helpful acts. It shouldn't be that fear is involuntary, yet loving acts is not, right? What you want is for your loving actions to be involuntary and your thought and your fears to be, choices, right? So the only thing you want to be involuntary is your loving actions, such that when you make a loving action, a helpful action, It's just involuntary, you can't help but be loving. You want to be able to say, I just can't help but be loving. You don't want to be saying, I just can't help but to be afraid, right? The only thing you want to be involuntary is your loving and helpful actions. Now, our teacher here, the voice of the course, is saying to us something awesome, something wonderful, where our teacher says, my control can take over everything that doesn't matter in your life, in your mind. And my guidance, says the voice of the course, can direct everything that does matter if you choose. So our teacher is letting us know what our teacher is offering us, what is available. And our teacher is telling us this, that our teacher is saying, listen, my loving control can take over everything that's going on that doesn't really matter. All the physical material stuff that's going on, it doesn't really matter. Our teacher is saying, my control can take over all the stuff that doesn't matter for you. And my guidance can direct everything in your mind, in your life that does matter, if you so choose. Isn't that beautiful? What a loving gift our teacher is offering to us, to all of us. So I would like to stop and say right here, teacher, voice for God in me, I ask that your control take over everything in my mind and my life that doesn't really matter. And I ask that your guidance take over everything in my mind and in my life that does matter. Thank you. Now, so I do so choose. Then it says, fear cannot be controlled by me, says our teacher, but fear can be self-controlled. So our teacher here is telling us, I can't control your fear for you. I can't make you stop being afraid. I can't take your fear away from you, says our loving teacher. But our teacher says, but your fear can be self-controlled. I can't take your fear from you, says love, but you can control your fear. Thank you, teacher. And then our teacher says to us, your fear is preventing me from giving you my control, says our teacher. So I'm going to say that about my fear. I'm going to say, this fear that I have going on right now is preventing my teacher from giving me its control that it said it would give me for everything that doesn't matter in my life. Okay, I just want to say the truth about my fear. Okay, so then it says, our teacher is saying to us, the presence of your fear, says our teacher, is showing that you have raised body thoughts to the level of the mind. So what is our teacher telling us about the presence of fear? So our teacher here is telling us that the presence of fear is letting us know that we have raised body thoughts about the body to the level of the mind. So I'm afraid means I am thinking about something about the body, what the body's doing, what the body needs, what's wrong with the body, what the body wants, the protection of the body, the pride of the body, the pain of the body, pleasure of the body's many, 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 many needs. My fear is letting me know that I have raised body thoughts to the level of my mind. I'm thinking about the body. The presence of fear lets me know that I'm thinking about the body. Okay. All right. That's good to know. That's good to know what the presence of fear really does show. Now, our teacher then says, when you are thinking about the body, you have raised body thoughts to the level of the mind. This removes these body thoughts from love's control and makes you feel personally responsible for those body thoughts that are making you afraid. So when I'm thinking about the things about the body and I'm afraid because of that, that is what? That is removing the body thoughts, the things that don't matter, from love's control. So when I'm thinking about the body thoughts, then what I'm saying is, love, I don't want you to handle all the things that don't matter about the body, which you said you would do. So our teacher here is saying, listen, my control can take over everything that doesn't matter, which is all the body thoughts you're thinking about that are making you afraid. My control can take over all those things that don't matter, all the body thoughts you're thinking about that's frightening you. If you want me to, I can do that. But by me thinking about the body thoughts, the things about the body, and being afraid of it, I'm keeping control of those thoughts for myself. By me thinking about the things about the body and being afraid about all the things about the body and thinking, making plans for all the things about the body, which is making me afraid, which makes me want to control more, that can be controlled by the voice for love in me if I want it to. I'm making myself afraid by thinking about the body thoughts, what I need around the body, how I got to protect the body's pride, the body's vulnerability, what the body needs, you know. That's what I'm frightening myself with. Okay? And then our teacher is telling us, look, my control can take over everything that doesn't matter, that you're sitting here trying to control around the body that's making you afraid. My control can take over everything that doesn't matter if you want me to. You know, that me trying to think about me thinking about and trying to control all the things related to the body is frightening me. And but I could give it all over to the control of the voice for love in me, who would then who would then take care of it and control it so that the outcome was only peace. All right. Now, doing this, bringing the body thoughts to the level of the mind, and me thinking about the body and frightening myself, this is an obvious confusion of levels. Hi, Mary. Lovely to see you. Trisha, hot springs and castor oil. That's right. It sure does. No doubt about it. Okay. Hi, Mary. Beautiful. She says she's just listening tonight. That's good. That's good enough. All right. Now, our teacher says, now I don't foster that kind of level confusion, but you must choose to correct that level confusion. And what's the level confusion? Where I am bringing thoughts of the body up to the level of the mind and then thinking about all the things of the body and how to control that. That is a level confusion. Now, our teacher says to us, now you wouldn't excuse insane behavior on your part, right? By saying you couldn't help that insane behavior, right? Okay, well, why should you then condone or excuse insane thinking? Isn't that interesting? We don't say, oh, I couldn't help that behavior that I did, but we definitely say, oh, I couldn't help thinking those fearful thoughts or those thoughts about the body, right? So we don't excuse insane behavior by saying I couldn't help my insane behavior, but we definitely excuse insane thinking, saying I couldn't help that insane thinking. This fear is involuntary. That's what we say. And that is our confusion, thinking I can help insane behavior, but I can't help insane thinking. That's our confusion. And a confusion that our teacher is saying we need to look at. Okay. That's a confusion it, you would do well to look at clearly. How we excuse insane thinking, where we don't excuse insane behavior. All right. Now, in other words, you may believe that you are responsible for what you do, but not for what you think. In other words, we believe that we are responsible for what we do, but we don't think that we are responsible for what we think. We think what we think is involuntary. I just, you know, I can't help but be afraid. I can't help but bring unimportant bodily matters to the level of the mind and think about them. Okay? This is our confusion. We may believe that we are responsible for what we do, but not for what we think. The truth is that you are responsible for what you think, because it is only at the level of what you think that you can exercise choice. And what you do comes from what you think. And you cannot separate yourself from truth by, quote, giving autonomy to behavior. Just because you give autonomy to your behavior, I couldn't help it, doesn't mean that you're giving truth to your behavior. You cannot separate yourself from the truth by giving autonomy to your behavior. And your behavior is controlled by love automatically as soon as you place what you think under love's guidance. Isn't that beautiful? I love that idea of placing my behavior under love's guidance, and then love can control my behavior automatically. So as soon as I place what I think under love's guidance, then love will automatically control my behavior. Now, how would you like for love to control your behavior? We've already experienced our behavior being controlled by our egos, and we've seen what comes from that, right? So I know from experience that now I know I don't want my ego controlling my behavior. I really don't. I've had a whole lifetime of my ego controlling my behavior, and it did not bring me peace. And so now I want the voice for love, the voice for God in me to control my behavior automatically. I love that. Doesn't that sound restful? Where love just controls your behavior automatically. You don't even have to think about or worry about what to do. You don't have to worry about what to do when you have placed what you think under love's control or under love's guidance. So instead of worrying about, well, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? Oh my God, what should I do? I don't know what to do. I'm so afraid. I don't know what to do. Don't worry about trying to figure out what to do. As soon as you place what you think, what you're thinking under love's control, love's guidance, then love will control what you do automatically. Love will tell you what to do. And it will have a beautiful, loving, abundant outcome. Hi, Tony. Lovely to see you. Tony says, when you learn fear is a prayer for what you don't want, you will let Holy Spirit take control. I did. That's beautiful. Well said. It's beautiful. Yes, I love hearing that. And I love that reminder, when I'm worried about what I should do. Which is a lot of our fears is about, well, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? I don't want to do the wrong thing, right? Instead of worrying about what to do, just place what you're thinking under love's guidance or under love's control. Go, love, spirit, higher self, the Christ in me. I ask you to guide my thinking right now. Guide my thinking right now. Guide my thinking right now, love. And then once you do that, then love will tell you what to do, and it will be brilliant, and it will be loving, and it will be perfect timing, and you and everyone around you will think, genius. Why didn't I think of that? All right. Now, then it says, so right. Um, you cannot separate yourself from the truth by, quote, giving autonomy to your behavior. Your behavior is controlled by me, the voice for God in you, automatically as soon as you place what you think under my guidance. And whenever you are afraid, it is a sure sign that you have allowed your mind to miscreate, which means you have not allowed me, the voice for God in you, to guide your thinking. That's what fear means. You have not allowed the voice for love in you to guide your thinking. That's all fear means. Fear doesn't mean that you're inadequate. Fear doesn't mean that you're endangered. Fear doesn't mean that there's something bad or wrong going on. Fear doesn't mean that you're endangered. Fear means that you have not allowed the voice for love within you to guide your thinking. What fear means is that you've brought the body thoughts up to the level of the mind, and you're thinking about everything about the body, thinking about the body, and you haven't allowed love to guide your thinking. You're thinking about the body. You're not asking love to guide your thinking. You're thinking about the body, what the body needs. And it's always something with the body. And it's really deep to look at your fears through that lens and go, wow, that's right. Everything I'm worried about, everything I'm afraid about, it's always something about the body, what the body needs, what the body got to get, the inadequacies of the body, the vulnerabilities of the body, the body's inadequacies, the body's cravings, the body's hunger, the body's many, many needs. I mean, isn't the body the most high maintenance relationship you have? The body's always needing something, always wanting something, always experiencing, because the body's not real. The body wasn't made by love. The body wasn't made to last forever because the body wasn't made by love. The body wasn't made by God. So the body is always needing, craving, the body's always dying. The body's always ending. From the moment the body is began, the body is dying. It may seem to have a few years there of thriving and radiant, but the body's not eternal. So the body's always ending. The body's always dying, and the body's definitely always needing. All right. And that's why whenever we're thinking about the body, then we're always afraid. But that's not the only thing that we can be thinking about, and that's not the only thing that we can be experiencing. All right. I love hearing the Course in Miracles definitions of what fear is and what the presence of fear always indicates. Okay. All right. Whenever you are afraid, it is a sure sign that you have allowed your mind to misthink, which means you have not allowed love to guide your thinking. All right. Anybody out there having not allowing love to guide their thinking? Well, here's your chance to choose once again. Choose once again. It's so easy. It's so easy to choose once again. and to say, love, voice for God within me, I choose for you to guide my thinking. Please guide my thinking, love, right now. Please guide my thinking. What I've been thinking about has been made me afraid. Love, please guide my thinking. All right. And don't forget, as soon as you place what you think under love's guidance, then love will control your behavior automatically. And then whatever you do will be right and good and loving and helpful and abundant. Okay. All right. Beautiful. Now we're going to go to paragraph 3. And welcome, Joe Gartley. Lovely to see you. Okay. And right, you guys, so if you guys are just joining us on Facebook and you want to follow along in the Course in Miracles, where we're at is listed up in the comments above, and it's chapter 2, section 6, in the blue book, if you're wanting to follow along. Okay, 2:6 in the blue book of A Course in Miracles. All right. Beautiful. Okay, great. Paragraph number 3. It is pointless to believe that controlling the outcome of misthought, which is behavior, can result in healing. So I'll say that again. It's pointless to believe that controlling behavior can result in healing. So healing does not come from changing your behavior. Oh, this behavior is not good, it's wrong. I'm going to change how I'm behaving and thinking that maybe that will produce healing and joy and peace. But it is pointless to believe that controlling behavior can result in healing. And that's because your behavior isn't the problem. Your behavior is not where the fear and the pain is coming from. When you are fearful, when you're experiencing anything but love, peace, joy, and abundance, it is always because you've chosen wrongly. You're thinking something that's not true. You have chosen to think about the bodily level instead of asking love to guide your thinking when you're fearful. So it's pointless to believe that controlling behavior will result in peace and joy. And that's because when you are fearful, it's because you have chosen wrongly, you have thought wrongly, and that's why you feel responsible for it. You must change your mind, not your behavior. And changing your mind is just a matter of willingness. When you are fearful and you don't want to be fearful anymore, you must change your mind, not your behavior. And changing your mind is just a matter of will. It's just a matter of willingness. Do you want to change your mind? That's all that is entailed. You don't need guidance except at the mind level. So you don't need guidance as to what you should do about the body, what you should do physically speaking. You don't need guidance at the body behavioral level because that's not the problem. That's not the cause of the fear. You only need guidance at the mind level, what you are thinking right now. Correction of fear and pain and guilt and shame and sickness and lack belongs only at the level where change is possible, which is the mind. And change doesn't mean anything at the symptom level, the behavior level, because change cannot work at the symptom level. Change cannot work at the behavior level. Okay. And that's why we have patterns that don't seem to get healed. Because the reason why we have these patterns that don't seem to get healed, no matter what we do, no matter how hard we try, is because we are trying to heal ourselves and our lives at the symptom level, at the behavior level, where no change can occur. And so we're like, oh, okay, I've got a new job, or I've lost a few pounds, or got a new relationship. I'm changing my behavior. I'm changing the behavior of my life. I'm doing something different in the body, but yet I still have this fear. Why is that? Because I'm trying to change the problem at the symptom level. I'm trying to rearrange the symptoms, okay, instead of taking care of or going to the level of correction, which is the mind. Okay. That's why patterns continue no matter all the stuff we're doing to treat and change and rearrange the symptoms. My problem is a symptom of fear that I am thinking in my mind. That's where the problem is coming from. It's coming from what I'm thinking in my mind. So we need to tell ourselves that about our problems. That's the first thing we need to tell ourselves. The first thing we need to tell ourselves about our problem is that this is the result. This problem is a symptom from my misthought. What I'm thinking that isn't true, which means isn't loving. And that's the first thing we need to tell ourselves if we really want to change, if we really want to a healing of this problem or this fear or this pain or this lack. The first thing we have to tell ourselves is that the problem is not on the physical level. The problem is what I'm thinking. And this physical level problem is coming from my misthought, what I'm believing that isn't true about myself or about the world. No. When I'm believing thoughts that aren't true, like I'm guilty, I'm separate, I'm wrong, I'm bad, or they're guilty, wrong, or bad, when I'm thinking things that are not true, then those misthoughts will produce symptoms. They will produce problems. They will produce pain and fear. And to try to change or heal that pain and that fear by changing the symptoms, which is the physical level, just won't work. Right. Okay. Let me put back up where we're at. All right. Here we go. Hi, Daniel. Lovely to see you. Okay. Now we're going to paragraph 4. The correction of fear is your responsibility. And when you ask for release from fear from something else, then you are implying that the correction of fear is not your responsibility. So, what should you do about fear? What should you do about fear? Instead of saying, please release me from this fear, what we want to ask our higher mind is we want to ask for help in the conditions that have brought this fear about in my mind. Okay. So instead of, oh, take this fear from me, take this symptom from me, take this problem from me, love, what we're being taught to ask for here is love. I ask for help in the condition that has brought this fear about. Please help me in the condition, the mental condition that has brought this pain, this fear, this problem about. So don't ask God to take the problem from you, because that problem is your responsibility. It is your choice. And so instead of saying, God, take this problem from me, we say, God, Spirit, love, please help me in the conditions, my mental conditions that have brought this fear and this pain and this problem about. Now, what are the conditions that have brought this problem, this fear, this pain about? Well, the Course tells us that the conditions that have brought this problem and this fear about is some kind of willingness on my part to be separate and to be afraid. Okay. So we don't say, love, take this problem from me. We say, love, help me with the conditions that brought this problem about. And then the conditions that brought this problem about is my thinking, my mind, where I had a willingness and a desire for the fear. Okay? That's where this problem came from. You know, this problem didn't start with the money problem, the relationship problem, the health problem. That's not where this problem came from. It's not where it started. It started in my mind with me having a willingness to be separate, a willingness to be afraid. In the mistaken conviction that being afraid or being angry or being sad or perceiving myself as guilty would somehow protect me and make me safe. That's where this problem came from. And that is what I need help with. Please, love, help me with that desire in my own mind for separation, for fear, for guilt. That's the problem. I still have a residual willingness and desire for the fear, for the pain, for the guilt. And that's the problem. That's where the problem is coming from, not the thing that's going on outside of me that seems to be hurting me or frightening me. So it's telling us what to do. So it's helping us first to identify correctly what the fear is. Then it's reminding us where it comes from. And then it is teaching us how to ask for the correction of the fear, pain, or problem where the problem really is. You know, the problem is not in that material issue that you're dealing with. The problem is in your thinking. The problem is in your desire to suffer, your desire for fear, your desire for guilt. Now, how do we know that we still have a remaining desire for guilt and fear? Okay. Because normally we're like, I don't have a desire for fear and guilt. I don't have a desire for pain. That would make me crazy. That would mean I was crazy. Well, we know that we still have a remaining desire for guilt and pain because we are still giving guilt and pain and shame to others. When other people do something we don't want them to do, what do? We give them guilt. We give them shame. Okay. So by the fact that we're still giving people guilt when they don't do something we thought we wanted them to do, then that lets us know that we are still asking for it and desiring guilt, which means fear and pain ourselves. And that's why we still have the continuing symptoms of fear in our life. And wherever you're experiencing suffering or lack, that is where you are experiencing still symptoms of your willingness for fear and guilt, your desire for it at some level. Okay. And at the level of the fear you're thinking about in your mind, you can help the fear. Okay, beautiful. All right. Hi, Irene. Lovely to see you. Okay. Then the Course of Miracles says something very deep. The Course of Miracles says, you are much too tolerant of mind wandering. Much too tolerant of all the body thoughts and all the fear and guilt and anger thoughts that are going through my mind. And I just way much too tolerant of mind wandering, which means our teacher is telling us you are passively excusing your mind's misthinking, miscreations. You are passively condoning your mind's false beliefs. You are passively condoning your fearful thinking, your mind's miscreations. Your fearful thoughts are your mind's miscreations. Your fearful thoughts is where your mind is miscreating, meaning creating something that is not going to produce peace and joy. You are much too tolerant of mind wandering, which means you are passively condoning your mind's miscreations, fearful thoughts. Now, the particular result of your fearful thinking, it doesn't matter. But the fundamental error of your fearful thoughts does matter. So, what comes from your fearful thinking, it don't matter. But the fact that you are thinking fearful thoughts when you don't have to be, that does matter. Now, the correction for the fearful thinking that is producing all this pain and lack and loss, the miscreations, the correction is always the same. The correction for misthinking, miscreating, which is producing negative symptoms, is always the same. What's the correction? Ask your loving right mind if your choice is in accord with mine, says our teacher. And if you are sure that your thinking is in accord with love's thinking, then there will be no fear. Wow. Okay, so this is a very powerful instruction that we want to remember relative to how to uh, how to get our thinking right so that we can stop misproducing errors and pain. Okay? The way to get your thoughts aligned with truth so that your behavior is controlled by love is this. Whenever you are thinking you got to make a choice about what to do about something before you choose to do anything, ask love if your thinking and your choice is in alignment with it. And if your thinking is in alignment with love, then there will be no fear about what to do. You, you will know what to do. There'll be no fear around it, and love will be directing your behavior. Very good, very clear instructions when you are feeling fear about what to do. Whenever you feel like there's a choice so that you have to make about what to do, what should I do? And I'm afraid, I don't know what to do. I got some fear around that. This is telling us very clearly what to do. Ask your loving right mind the voice for God in you, if your choice to do such and such is in accord with your loving right mind's choice. Love, I'm wanting to do such and such is but I want to know, is my choice to do fill in the blank in accordance with your loving will? Love, I'm thinking I should do blah blah blah, fill in the blank. Is what I want to do in accordance with your loving will, love? Is that in accordance with your loving will for me and everyone involved? Now, if you are sure that what you are wanting to do is in accord with love's will for yourself and everyone involved, then there will be no fear in doing that thing. Very interesting. I love this as a guide for behavior so that it gives you a beautiful, purifying method to use to make sure that your behavior is going to be coming from a clear and loving mental place, right? You don't want to be acting when you're not in your right mind, right? And so before you act, you want to make sure that you get back into your right mind, which means that you align your thinking and your desire with love's will for you, love's plan for your happiness, which cannot fail, and love's plan for everybody who's involved in this situation, love's plan who cannot fail. Okay. This is a way to increase the chance that whatever you do is going to work. It's going to be effective. It's going to be loving. It's going to, produce only good. So it's a guide for behavior. What to do before you are tempted to ask. What to do before you're about to act without asking for love's guidance of your thinking. Before you act, ask love to guide your thinking. Ask love if what you're thinking about is in accordance with love's will for you and for everyone involved. And if you are certain that what you're thinking is in accordance with love's will, then you can be sure that there won't be any fear. And whatever you do will be loving and effective. All right. Beautiful, very practical. The Course in Miracles is not concerned with anything but the practical. Right? This is not a play in the lofty ideas. This is a manual, a curriculum that is practical. How to have peace of mind in my everyday life and how to help other people to have the same. That's what it's about. Okay. The Course in Miracles is only concerned with the practical. How can I have peace and joy right now with what I'm dealing with and experiencing right now in my life? Okay, beautiful. Okay. Now we're going to go on to paragraph 5. Now it says, fear is always a sign of strain. Fear always arises whenever what you want conflicts with what you do. So I want you to bring that fear that you're dealing with back into your awareness. What was that fear? What's the fear you're dealing with right now in your life? And I want you to tell yourself, this fear is a sign of strain that has arisen because what I want is conflicting with what I'm doing. And this situation that I'm in, where I'm experiencing fear and strain because what I want is out of alignment with what I'm doing. My God, how often is that? This situation arises in two ways. First, you can choose to do conflicting things either simultaneously or successively. Now, when you're choosing to do conflicting things simultaneously or successively, that produces conflicted behavior, which is intolerable to you because the part of the mind that wants to do something else is outraged. Okay. So that's the first way that conflict expresses itself. That's the first way. That's one way that fear, as a sign of strain, arises. So sometimes I'm experiencing fear because I'm experiencing strain between what I want to do and what I am doing. The there's a strain, there's a conflict between what I want and what I'm doing, right? Like here I am at work all day, but I don't really want to be at work all day. Here I am doing something in this relationship that I don't really want to be doing, you know, or what I want to be doing is I want to be doing more self care things. I want to be doing things that make me happy, but that's conflicting with what I am doing, which is things that don't make me happy. Right? So fear is always a sign of strain arising whenever what you want is conflicting with what you're doing. Okay. Now, this strain arises in two ways. The first way that this strain between what you want and what you're doing arises is you can choose to do conflicting things either simultaneously or successively. Now, this produces conflicted behavior, which is intolerable to you because the part of the mind that wants to do something else is outraged. That's the first way that fear and strain can arise. The second way that fear and strain can arise for you is that you can behave as you think you should, but without entirely wanting to do so. Now, this version of the strain and the fear produces consistent behavior, but entails great strain. So, the first version of strain is what I want to do and what I do is conflicting. And so and that produces conflicted behavior. Okay. And then the second way that strain arises in my life is I do what I think I should do, but without entirely wanting to do so, which definitely produces strain, great strain. In both of these cases, the mind and the behavior are out of accord. And this results in a situation in which you are doing what you don't wholly want to do. Okay. And how familiar are we with that? How often is it, honestly, that where we are in a situation where we're doing what we don't wholly want to be doing, you know, or we're doing what we want to do and don't want to do simultaneously or successively, or we're doing what we think we should do instead of what we really want to be doing. Now, either way, these expressions of behavior and desire being out of accord, either way we do it, produces conflicted behavior. Either way we do it produces strain and resentment. And either way, our behavior is out of accord with what we want to do. It arouses a sense of coercion that usually produces rage, and then projection is likely to follow. And whenever there is fear, it's because you have not made up your mind. And so your mind is therefore split, and your behavior inevitably becomes erratic. And correcting at the behavioral level can shift the error from the first to the second type of conflict, but will not obliterate the fear. So fear arises in one of two ways. Fear always is coming from strain. Okay? This fear that you're dealing with, it's a strain that you're experiencing. And it's a strain that is coming because what you want to do and what you are doing is in conflict. And this sense of strain between what I want and what I'm doing produces this feeling of coercion, which makes me angry. And then I project that anger onto other people. Okay? That is what occurs, and even if I am doing what I think I should without holding wanting to do so, that produces the strain of resentment. So either way, my behavior and what I want is out of accord. It produces strain, and that's where my fear is coming from. My wanting and my doing are out of accord. Now I'm experiencing strain, and now I'm experiencing fear. Okay. That's what does it say about fear? Fear is always a sign of strain arising whenever what you want conflicts with what you do. Okay? And you can do that. You can manifest that strain in many different ways, you know, but the result is the same. Whatever part of you is not doing what you want to be doing, even though you think it's the right thing to do, that part of you is going to feel coerced. It's going to feel angry, resentful, and then it's going to project that rage out onto others. You are making me unhappy. You are making me do this. Okay. Beautiful. So in other words, whenever you're experiencing fear, it's because you haven't made up your mind. You haven't made a decision. Okay. And therefore your mind is split and your behavior becomes inevitably erratic. And correcting at the behavioral level can shift the error from the first type of strain to the second type of strain, but correcting at the behavioral level will not obliterate the fear or the strain. Isn't that interesting? Fear comes from strain when what you want is conflicting with what you're doing. And there's two ways you can do that, but it's still producing the same result. You're experiencing strain, and also your mind is split. You haven't made up your mind yet. You're still thinking, well, I'll do, I'll either do what I want to do and what I don't want to do. Okay, which produces conflicted behavior. Or I'll just do what I think I should do instead of, I'll sacrifice what I want to do and just do what I think I should do. But both of those are going to produce strain and a sense of sacrifice and resentment. Okay. And isn't that interesting? That's where our fear is coming from. I haven't made up my mind yet. I haven't made up my mind, Okay. Trying to do two opposite things at once. All right. All right, let's take a breath on that. All right. Let's take a moment and breathe. The course is so deep. Sometimes you just gotta stop and take a breath and feel. All right. Now we're in paragraph 6. Now, it is possible to reach a state of mind in which you bring your mind under love's guidance without conscious effort. Oh, that's good to know. So here I am in constant strain, conflict, and fear because what I want and what I'm doing is out of accord. Or I could reach a state in which I bring my mind under love's guidance without conscious effort. But this implies a willingness that we have not developed yet. That's right. Okay. Well, then I want to develop that willingness, right? I want to bring my mind under love's guidance without conscious effort. I want it to be that I think in accordance with love and truth without effort. That I just can't help but think with love, like love, you know. I without conscious effort, I want to bring my mind under love's guidance. How about you? Okay. Well, this entails a willingness that maybe we haven't developed, but that we can. And your higher loving right mind cannot ask more than you are willing to do. The strength to do comes from undivided decision, which means there is no strain in doing love's will as soon as you recognize that love's will is your will. I see. So fear and strain comes from uh, there's the conflict between what I want and what I'm doing. That's where fear and strain comes from. Okay. But when I realize that the only thing that I want to do is what love wants, when I realize that all I want to think is what love thinks and all I want to do is what love would do, okay, now there's no strain. Now there's no conflict between what I want and what I'm doing. I've made up my mind. I've made a decision. I only want love's will. Love, what would you have me think? Love, what would you have me do? Love, what's your will? What's your loving will in this situation? That's all I want. Now I'm one minded. I'm not in conflict, right? I only want one thing. In my fear and strain, I wanted two things, right? I wanted to do what I wanted to do, but I also was doing what I didn't want to do. Okay, my mind was split between what I wanted to do and what I was doing, and my mind was split between what I thought I should do and what I wanted to do. My mind was split. But when I decide that all I want is love's will, love's plan, love's thoughts, love's actions, now there is no conflict, and now there is no strain, and now there is no fear. Love what you want in this situation. Love whatever you are thinking about this situation. That's the way I am going to think about it. Whatever you want to do in this situation, that's what I want to do. Okay. So as soon as I decide that my will and love's will are one, no more conflict between thoughts, between mind and behavior. No more conflict, no more strain. Beautiful. I love it. There is no strain in doing love's will as soon as you recognize that love's will is also your own will. All I want is what love wants. Okay. No strain there, no conflict. And the lesson here is quite simple, but particularly apt to be overlooked. I will therefore repeat it, urging you to listen. All right. Well, thank you. Our teacher is so patient, so loving. So our teacher says, okay, lesson here is quite simple, but particularly apt to be overlooked. So I will therefore repeat this lesson, urging you to listen. And the lesson is this: only your mind can produce fear. And your mind produces fear whenever your mind is conflicted in what it wants. And this produces inevitable strain because wanting and doing are out of accord. Now, the strain of your wanting and your doing being out of accord, this can be corrected only by accepting a unified goal. Okay, so let's bring back that fear that I had you bring to your awareness at the beginning. What is that fear, that worry, that problem, that issue, that manifestation of strain that you had brought to your awareness at the beginning of this class? Bring that back to your mind, and I want you to tell yourself what this is telling ourselves, and then let's do what it says to do. Okay, so that's what I do when I'm reading the course. I when it tells me what's really going on, it gives me a new definition, or it gives me a new interpretation of the strain, the problem, and then it tells me something I can do. So I stop at the end of the paragraph and I say to my problem, I reinterpret it. So I like say this problem right here has been produced by my mind. This is a fear that has been produced by my mind. Only my mind has produced this fear. And my mind has produced this fear and this problem because my mind is conflicted in what it wants. And my mind being conflicted in what I want, and what my mind wants and what my body's doing being in conflict has produced strain in my life. And this problem, this strain, this conflict, this fear is the inevitable strain because my wanting and my doing are out of accord. And so I would like this to be corrected. I would like this strain and this fear between my wanting and my doing to be corrected. And so I am choosing in this holy instant a unified goal, which means I decide in this holy instant that all I want is love's plan. That's all I want. All I want is the love's will to be done. That's it. I don't know what that is, but that's all I want. That's all I want. I want one thing. I want love's will to be done. Love knows how everyone in this situation can win. Love, truth, my loving right mind knows how everyone in this situation can win, benefit, gain, and not lose. I don't know that. I don't know how I and everyone involved can only win, which means not lose. I believe my misperception tells me that in order for me to gain, I'm going to have to sacrifice something. I can't just have it all without some sacrifice. So, so I cannot answer my own issue because I believe that my wanting and my doing has to be out of accord for me to gain. And that's my misthinking. That's my miscreation. And so the only way out of the strain and the conflict and the fear is to want only one thing, and that is love's will, love's thoughts. All right. Beautiful. It's just nothing but practical application, nothing but answers. That's all the course is. You know, to speak in basketball terms, which I know nothing about, it's all it's all hoop. That's not the way that's not the phrase. It's all net, you know. With the course, it's all net, there's no loss. There's always net, only net gain. It's all net. Okay. Right. um, my conflict and my strain and my fear is coming from this sense of strain, like, well, I can't just have it all. I'm gonna have to uh, do something I don't want to do. Right. I'm gonna have to do something I don't want to do. Right. um, so the Course in Miracles is teaching us that there is a way for us to experience and answer where there is no sacrifice, where you're wanting and you're doing doesn't have to be out of accord for you to gain. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do in order to experience what love wants for you, right? I believe that I got to do something I don't really want to do. I got to do some behavior that my mind really doesn't want to do in order to be safe, in order to gain. And the Course in Miracles is telling us no, that is not the truth of the matter. All that does is produce conflict, strain, and resentment, right? And unhappiness, fear. And so, but when you decide in any situation where something seems to need to be done or decided, and you, instead of you making up a plan for, okay, how do I do what it is I don't really want to do in order to get something, Course in Miracles is teaching us a better way. And that is the way of where you place what you're thinking under love's guidance, and you decide and you choose that all you really want is love's plan for the good for all involved. Win-win. Okay. And now you have accepted a unified goal. Your thinking and your behavior is not out of alignment. And now you are not experiencing uh, the strain and the fear. Okay. Beautiful. Very practical. All right. So now it's going to talk about the correction of fear. Okay. So this is a very beautiful and practical corrective process right here. So everything that I've just been talking about the correction of fear and strain, we're going to now condense it into one paragraph and a beautiful thought process for the correction of fear and strain and conflict. Are you ready? Okay. If you have the book, or if you have a pen and paper, make sure to write this down for yourself so that the next time that you experience fear, that you can utilize this thought process to allow your fear to be corrected. Okay, here we go. Paragraph 7. The first corrective step in undoing the error of fear and strain is know first that this conflict is an expression of fear. First step, correction of fear. Know that this conflict is an expression of fear. You got a conflict? First thing to do, say to yourself, this conflict is an expression of fear. Now, say that to yourself. Say this to yourself. And say to yourself that you must have somehow chosen not to love or this fear could not have arisen. So the first thing you say is this conflict is an expression of fear, and that somehow you must have chosen not to love, or the fear could not have arisen. Then the whole process of correction becomes nothing more than a series of pragmatic steps in the larger process of accepting the correction as the remedy. Now, these steps may be summarized in this way. Okay, here's the fear corrective process. Ready? Know first that this is fear. So you got the conflict, you got the strain, you got the problem, and you want love's corrective process for the fear, for the problem, for the strain. Tell yourself first, know first that this is fear. This conflict is fear. All right? Step 2. Fear arises from lack of love. Step 3. The only remedy for lack of love is perfect love. Step 4. Perfect love is the correction of the conflict. So that's it. Okay, that's 4 steps of the corrective process for conflict. Okay, those 4 steps have been distilled down from the how many paragraphs? The 7 paragraphs before here, talking about what fear is, what conflict is, where it comes from, what is the only thing that corrects it. Okay, that's what we've been talking about for 7 paragraphs. And then the last paragraph distills all of that down into a 4-step corrective process of the conflict. Okay, here's the conflict. You want the correction because you don't want to suffer the pain and the strain anymore of this conflict. It goes like this. You tell yourself, this conflict is fear. And then you tell yourself, this fear has arisen from a lack of love. And then you tell yourself, the only remedy for lack of love is perfect love. And then you tell yourself, perfect love is the correction. Wow. Okay. Now, if that isn't practical, I don't know what is. All right. Beautiful. So that is the correction. It's the understanding of what the fear and the conflict really is, where it's coming from. It's teaching us about the only level at which fear and conflict can be corrected. And then it teaches us how to go to that level, the level of our thoughts, our choice, and how to correct it at the thought level with the guidance of our higher self. Remember, this section is telling us that if we want love to, love can guide our thinking and correct our misperceptions that are producing the unhappy symptoms that we're experiencing at the behavioral level. And this section is telling us that the problem and the conflict is because we are thinking about the physical level. We are upset about what's happening physically on the behavioral level. We're concerning ourselves with the physical manifestation of the fear. We're upset with the physical expression of the conflict. And then thinking, well, if I just change the physical symptom effects of this problem, if I just change this problem at the behavioral level, then I will be happy again. But the Course in Miracles says that no problems are cured at the symptom level, the behavioral level, because that's not where the problem is coming from. And only when we ask for correction at the thought level, the causal level of the problem, and we ask for that correction from the loving right mind, only then is the problem, which was the symptom, only then is the behavioral level, symptom, physical level problem corrected. Only then does it go away, right? So beautiful. And so I'm going to read to you from one of my recent blogs. So I have a blog on my new website, Divine Revolution, divinerevolutionarq.com. And this is a correction process that I have titled Reality Test It. So this is in alignment with what to do when you notice that you are upset, when you notice that you are in conflict, what to do. So I got a problem, I'm upset. And the Course in Miracles says, like we hear in this section, reality test it. Okay, bring it to truth. This section, know first this is fear. Fear arises from a lack of love. The only remedy for lack of love is perfect love. Perfect love is the correction. That is the corrective process, right? And so I have distilled that again down into this blog post called Reality Test It. So it goes like this. Notice the upset, step 1. Step 2, realize you must have made an inaccurate and unloving judgment somehow or somewhere of a person, place, or thing, since it is you who is upset. Okay, so we got step 1 and step 2. When you got a problem and you want love's correction that does answer it once and for all. Step 1, notice the upset, okay, which is a miracle in itself. Oh, I'm upset. Step 1, notice the upset. Step 2, realize you must have made an inaccurate and loving judgment somehow or somewhere for person, place, or thing. Step 3, compare your judgment to the simple and universal truth, which is every loving thought is true and everything else is a plea for the love that has been denied. So that's step 3. Compare the unloving thought that you had with the universal truth that only love is real and everything else is a call for love. You say that someone has tried to attack, abandon, or enslave you, but did you reality test that interpretation? I'm going to read that again. You say that someone has tried to attack, abandon, or enslave you, but did you reality test that interpretation to ensure it's true before you suffered as if it were true? We don't want to question our interpretations because we'd rather die than be wrong. But do you really want to suffer for nothing? Do you really want to suffer for something that may not be true? If you don't reality test your interpretations of how others have hurt you, you may be suffering for nothing. And that's one of my blogs from my website. And you can access my blogs and memes on my website, Divine Revolution ARQ. And you don't have to be a member to access it. I think you do have to join, you do have to become a member to access what's on my website, but you don't have to pay to become a member. So go check out my website, Divine Revolution ARQ, for more of my writings, my blogs, my memes, my Course in Miracles recordings, my Course in Miracles playlists, and for those who are members of my website, divinerevolutionarq.com, I'm going to be doing monthly miracle chat sessions. So where we just question and answer, Course in Miracles support group, question and answer, where we just talk to each other. So that'll be happy. That'll be starting in January. That'll be miracle chats, and it's open to those who are members of my website, and it doesn't cost anything to become a member and join my Divine Revolution ARQ.com community. All right. So I'm just going to do one more announcement, and then we're going to do our integration meditation. So next announcement is that Dr. Carla Adams and I will be doing our next Course in Miracles play shop at the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center, January 3rd, 2026. And it is about how to access the real world through conscious community. So it's an in-person workshop at the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center, and sliding scale starting at $33 and going to $66. And so just know that that is available, and you can sign up for that either on my website or Dr. Carla Adams. So beautiful. Oh, and also Greg and I have changed the date, place, and time of our Course in Miracles class, Transforming Relationships Through a Course in Miracles. So we've taken our class back online because it's winter time. We had been doing it in person at the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center. But some lovely little winter weather reminded us that we need to go back online for the winter, and then come spring we'll go back to doing it in person. Thank you, Timmy. So now Transforming Relationships Through A Course in Miracles with the Quins is now every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, on my YouTube channel, Anna Rebecca Quinn, and also on this Facebook channel. So Facebook channel, YouTube channel, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. We're going to come back. So this Wednesday, day after tomorrow, Greg and I are going to get back at it. Okay. So we've missed you guys, and we're very much looking forward to getting back to talking application of A Course in Miracles to our relationships. So that's beautiful. Thank you, Trisha. Yes, exactly. All right, you guys, I appreciate you all so much. Do go check out my website if you get a chance. And wonderful. Yeah, on my website, I'm now making available my Course in Miracles reading playlist. It's called Songs of Freedom, where I'm just reading the Course in Miracles to beautiful music. So if you've ever enjoyed listening to the Course in Miracles through me, or you would like to incorporate that healing device into your healing practice of just listening to the Course in Miracles through me to beautiful music, the way to access that is to go become a member of my website, which doesn't cost anything. And then you can access my Course in Miracles readings playlist, Songs of Freedom. And I've got a bunch of other wonderful playlists there as well. So, okay. I appreciate you guys for being here so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Diana, Dimples. Thank you all for being here and joining your beautiful, loving energy to this co-creative healing circle that we always create when we come together to study A Course in Miracles together. All right. So now we're just going to do a couple of minutes of an integration meditation, and then we're going to go on back out to the lab, the forgiveness lab, because that's where we're at. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, if you are able to close your eyes and take a breath and just breathe. And just breathe and notice how you feel right now. All right. So I want you to bring to your awareness a situation or a relationship right now in which you are experiencing fear or conflict or strain, anything that's not loving and peaceful. Beautiful. Now, I want you to tell yourself, first, this fear is not an accident. It did not happen to me without my consent. That's the first thing you want to tell yourself. I want you to tell yourself now about this fear, that this fear is coming because I have raised thoughts about the body to the level of my mind. And now I am thinking about things related to the body, behaviors, symptoms. I'm thinking about something about the body, and that's why I'm afraid. Now I want you to tell yourself, this fear did not happen to me against my will. This fear is not involuntary. This fear is not something that happened to me beyond my control. And now I want you to tell yourself about this fear. I do not want to excuse this insane thinking by telling myself I couldn't help it. I may believe that I am responsible for what I do, but I'm not believing I'm responsible for what I think. I want you to tell yourself the truth. I am responsible for this fear that I am thinking. It did not happen to me. I am responsible for these fearful thoughts because it is only at the level of what I think that I can exercise choice. I am responsible for this fear that I am thinking right now. And take a breath. Now I want you to tell yourself that this fear is a sign that I have allowed my mind to think wrongly, which means I have not allowed love to guide my thinking. Tell yourself the truth about it. I'm afraid because I have not allowed love to guide my thinking. And take a breath. Now, I want you to tell yourself, I don't need guidance except at the mind level, because correction of this fear and this problem belongs only at the level where change is possible. And I want you to tell yourself, change does not mean anything at the symptom level where it cannot work. And take a breath. Now, instead of asking that this fear be taken from you, I want you now to ask for help in the conditions, the mental conditions that have brought this fear about. I want you to ask for help in correcting your false desire for this fear. Now, I want you to ask yourself about this fear, about this problem, about this conflict. Where is it that what I'm wanting to do is out of accord with what I am doing? How is it and where is it in this situation where your wanting is out of accord with your doing? And take a breath. Beautiful. Now, I want you to decide that you only want one thing, and that is love's will to be done in this situation or relationship. And take a breath. And now, I want you to bring this conflict or fear into your awareness, and I want you to tell yourself, this is fear. And the next thing I want you to tell yourself is, fear arises from lack of love. And then I want you to tell yourself that the only remedy for lack of love is perfect love.